breaking away from an abusive relationship was something that I had to do. And that took so much courage to rebuild not only my life, but my children's lives too. My name is Sarah Jepson and I'm the founder of 6 Degrees. It is a female-only community and we are growing quite rapidly and we're super excited to kind of bring our offering to the world. To me, the concept of everyday bravery is someone or people who are able to make small steps, big steps, or live courageously every day, to maybe have been living aligned to their purpose or their belief values, and that they kind of live by that, and that they're moving forward every day kind of with that mantra in their mind. They maybe are someone that will have the awkward conversations or will speak up about something, perhaps when others won't. They might be somebody that does something, they volunteer, or they're just someone that is willing to be brave and courageous, maybe at times when others wouldn't. So that to me is what kind of everyday bravery is. Probably the most significant steps that I have taken are probably twofold. One was around 12 years ago when my eldest daughter had just turned 5, my youngest was 2, and I basically left a really abusive marriage that was rife with domestic abuse. And that took for me an incredible amount of bravery and resilience to get myself in a position where I was able to leave everything that I'd ever known. I only at that time had told maybe 2 people of what I was thinking and feeling and aiming towards. So it took a lot of planning. I had to get financially independent. I had to secretly find a house because I knew that in order to feel safe and to make sure that I remained in the new kind of life that I wanted, I had to get things lined up. So I was able to do that, but it took a lot of energy while still kind of fighting with the emotional trauma that I was kind of living through at that time. And then the second part, which I hadn't ever really considered, was actually sharing my story publicly. And it was a bizarre kind of sensation, feeling and moment for me when I was invited to share my story. And it came from something, I think a post I put on LinkedIn around something that happened to my family, like more recently, still involving my ex-husband. And I was invited to kind of share that story. And in that moment, I said yes, and then instantly regretted it and was like, I can't do this. Why would I want to share this story? What will people think of me? Will they judge me? All of the kind of narrative around shame. But actually what I kind of sat with was, what if on the other side of this, owning your story, owning your life, maybe that would liberate you? Because I still felt that there was something around living authentically. Well, this was a huge part of my life and actually defined a lot of my actions and why I set up 6 Degrees and why I'm so passionate about working with domestic abuse charities and helping and supporting the more vulnerable women. So it felt like actually maybe this was a gift for me to step into and own this part of my story. So I did that. And the reception to everybody that was in the audience was absolutely incredible. And I was really nervous because it wasn't just a female audience. There were men in the audience. And I remember being so nervous thinking, what will people think of me? But actually, I was approached by scores of people who could relate to my story, who had been a child and suffered domestic abuse, whose sister, whose brother or whoever had been kind of impacted. And they felt really hopeful by my story, because the biggest kind of thing that I wanted to kind of share was, yes, this traumatic thing happened and will always kind of like be part of my story, but actually I am thriving. I'm the happiest I've ever been. I've spent 10, 12 years rebuilding my life and my children are thriving. So it's a story of hope and how even our darkest moments can actually create the biggest transformations and change, if only we believe that that's possible. So I've spent my life believing, manifesting, taking small steps every single day towards the life that I know I'm worthy of and that I deserve. I think my advice would be to anyone that is looking to adopt more everyday bravery, I think would be, first of all, to check in with yourself that you're ready to champion the cause or talk about the thing or to act in that way. The reason I say that is once you start those actions, things can open up for you. So just make sure that you're ready and that you're comfortable energetically, emotionally. For me, going back to speaking about domestic abuse, I felt able to talk about it because I'd had a 12-year gap between the thing happening, me rebuilding, and then being able to speak about it. So that would be my first thing. And then my second thing would just be, everyday bravery can be, like I said, be that person in the room that's willing to challenge something that's being said. For me, I've spoken up about many women's issues in rooms where I know my viewpoint is not a common viewpoint. I know that the people in the room will 100% disagree with me, but actually starting those conversations can just plant a seed in somebody. And they might not agree with you on that day, but actually what's happened for me is giving a challenging or a different viewpoint. I've then had people come back to me and say, you know what, I've reflected on what you've said and I want to discuss that more. So when I was feeling nervous about public speaking, it was like, but what if I help one person in that room? What if I say something in that room that helps another human being or makes them feel they're not alone? So I try and focus on that as opposed to my own kind of imposter syndrome or nervousness. Think about the outcome as opposed to like the potential fear.